Once again, ladies and gentlemen, these two competing tomorrow in a scheduled 12-round contest for the WBC Lightweight Championship of the World.
All you fighting over fun, where the bread at? How they feel about you, where you from, where your bed at? I don't need no pill.
From fixing fuses to throwing hooks, that's the surreal journey of Josh Padley, an electrician who traded his toolbox for boxing gloves overnight. Picture this. While most fighters spend months preparing for a world champion, Padley went from installing light fixtures to squaring up against the elite Shakur Stevenson in a blink. But when these two men finally locked eyes at the weigh-in, what unfolded wasn't just unexpected. It was absolutely explosive. The boxing world erupted in chaos when the unthinkable happened. This unknown electrician-turned-fighter shoved Stevenson with such force it nearly sparked a riot. In an era where boxing's theater often feels scripted, this raw, unfiltered moment of defiance sent shockwaves through the sport. Was this the act of a desperate man seeking his 15 minutes? Or did Padley just expose the vulnerability in Stevenson's aura of invincibility? And as this blue-collar warrior stepped into the spotlight, one question burned in everyone's mind. Could this improbable challenger turn boxing's hierarchy upside down? The boxing world was rocked when what should have been a routine title defense exploded into a web of controversy. Floyd Schofield Jr., Stevenson's handpicked challenger, mysteriously vanished from the card, allegedly struck down by illness. But what followed wasn't just a withdrawal, it was a bombshell. Schofield's father dropped a nuclear accusation that set social media ablaze. His son had been deliberately poisoned. Was this paranoia? Or had someone really tried to sabotage the fight? The whispers of conspiracy spread like wildfire through boxing's dark corridors. Enter the most unlikely savior, Josh Padley, a man who spent more time with voltage meters than speed bags. In a twist that seemed ripped from a Hollywood script, this British electrician answered boxing's desperate SOS just 4 days out. While critics sneered at what they saw as a circus act, Padley traded his hard hat for headgear and stepped into a storm that would have made most pros run for cover. This wasn't just about filling a slot. This was about a working-class hero daring to crash boxing's elite party. And when he finally stood toe-to-toe with Stevenson at the weigh-in, he didn't just show up. He showed out, igniting a powder keg that had been building since his shock announcement. Boxing history is littered with explosive weigh-ins, but what unfolded between Stevenson and Padley wasn't just tension. It was pure, unscripted mayhem. The champion sauntered in, hiding behind designer shades like a poker player masking his till, while the electrician-turned-fighter stood there, raw and unfiltered, with the hunger of a man with nothing to lose. Then came the moment that set social media on fire. No warning, no build-up, just Padley launching Stevenson backward with a shove that sent shockwaves through the room. Security guards sprinted in as both camps nearly turned the stage into a battleground, with years of boxing protocol evaporating in seconds. When the dust settled, one thing became crystal clear. Padley wasn't here to collect autographs or take selfies. This wasn't just another day at the office. This was a blue-collar warrior declaring war on boxing's elite. Sure, both men hit their marks, Stevenson at 134.1 and Padley at 134. But those numbers became footnotes in the chaos. What started as a routine weigh-in had transformed into something far more sinister. A blood feud born in seconds. As the opening bell pierced the arena, Padley stood like David before Goliath, facing a man many consider untouchable. Stevenson, with his perfect record and technical mastery, represented everything Padley wasn't: polished, proven, privileged. But what unfolded next shocked even the harshest critics. The electrician-turned-warrior stormed forward like a man possessed, throwing boxing's sacred textbook out the window. While Stevenson danced his usual ballet of precision, Padley brawled with blue-collar fury, disrupting the champion's artistic flow with crude but effective aggression. Those few clean shots he landed sent whispers through the crowd. Was the impossible about to happen? But champions aren't crowned by accident. Stevenson, like a snake waiting to strike, adapted with cold calculation. He turned the ring into a torture chamber, his surgical strikes carving away at Padley's resolve. Each body shot echoed like a hammer on steel, gradually dismantling the challenger's working-class heroics. The fairy tale began crumbling under the weight of raw talent. As the middle rounds unfolded, reality crashed through Padley's dreams. Every ambitious advance was met with punishing precision. Every hopeful surge countered with masterful timing. The underdog's heart kept writing checks his skills couldn't cash. The ninth round played out like a Greek tragedy. Stevenson unleashed hell, first dropping Padley with a combination that would have felled a horse. Two more knockdowns followed like brutal punctuation marks. When Padley's corner finally waved the white flag, they weren't just saving their fighter. They were acknowledging boxing's harsh hierarchy. Sure, Padley lost the fight, but in those brief moments of defiance, he reminded us why we love this sport. Sometimes it's not about winning. It's about daring to step into the fire when others wouldn't even approach the flame. In the aftermath of battle, Stevenson stood before the media like a king after conquest, his demeanor dripping with the cold confidence of a man who never doubted the outcome. He dissected his victory with surgical precision, revealing how his calculated assault on Padley's body was less strategy and more execution, a methodical dismantling of a man who dared to dream too big. Yet surprisingly, the champion's usual arrogance gave way to unexpected respect. The same fighter who had been shoved at the weigh-in now spoke of Padley's grit with genuine admiration, acknowledging that while skill gaps can't be bridged overnight, courage deserves its own spotlight. For Padley, defeat carried a peculiar victory. In just 4 days, he transformed from anonymous electrician to boxing's newest cult hero. The scorecard showed a loss, but surviving 9 rounds with boxing's boogeyman had written his name into the sport's folklore. The boxing world buzzed with comparisons to legendary underdogs, those brave souls who dared to punch above their weight. But this wasn't just another Rocky story. It was a raw reminder that sometimes the biggest victories come wrapped in defeat. In the end, Padley traded obscurity for infamy, turning a last-minute gamble into a career-defining moment. While Stevenson added another notch to his perfect record, Padley carved his name into boxing's consciousness, proving that sometimes having the audacity to try is victory enough. When Stevenson and Padley's paths collided, they created more than just another title fight. They crafted a modern boxing parable. What should have been a footnote in Stevenson's legacy instead became a tale that set the boxing world ablaze. Yes, the champion retained his crown with clinical precision, but it was the electrician-turned-warrior who captured imagination with his raw defiance. This wasn't just about a man trading his toolbox for boxing gloves. It was about seizing destiny by the throat when fate kicked down your door. In an era of carefully curated careers, Padley's audacious gamble reminded us why we fell in love with the savage science in the first place. If this story of ambition, chaos, and courage got your blood pumping, smash that like button and hit subscribe to catch more unfiltered boxing drama and behind-the-scenes breakdowns that'll keep you on the edge of your seat.